right, so welcome to another deep dive. And today,
Yeah.
we're going to be tackling a figure who, well, he seems to just dominate headlines everywhere you look these days.
Yeah,
Elon Musk.
definitely.
And we've got some excerpts from a biography all about his achievements.
Oh, cool.
And I think you're going to find some of his early steps pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's interesting because even with all the attention he gets,
Right.
I feel like there's still so much that most people don't know about what really shaped him
Right.
into this innovation icon.
Yeah, for sure. And the source material really paints this picture of a kid
Yeah.
who was just practically wired to be in tech. I mean,
Right.
selling his first video game at 12,
Yeah.
that's not your average kid selling lemonade on a hot day.
No, not at all. I mean, it really does show you that, even those who go on to kind of change the world, they start somewhere small.
Yeah.
And what I find really interesting about his story is his academic background. I mean, it's not just
Right.
straight computer science or anything. He actually got degrees
Okay.
in both economics and physics from UPenn.
Wow, he was collecting skills like infinity stones or something.
Right, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
But it makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
Economics to understand the markets. He'd eventually totally disrupt.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
physics for, well, the rockets.
Of course, yeah. And you really see that that multidisciplinary thinking just woven throughout his entire career. I mean, for example, his economics background, that really plays out in how Tesla's structured to really kind of shake up the entire auto industry, right?
Yeah.
And then SpaceX's approach to rocket engineering, you can totally see his physics knowledge embedded in all their work.
That's so cool. And then there's the Stanford story.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Drops out of a PhD program to ride the dot-com wave.
Yeah.
Was that just a wild risk, or was that more calculated than it seems at first glance?
Well, I mean, dropping out's always a risk, right?
Yeah.
But Musk clearly had a keen sense of the dot-com boom's potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like he was less about ivory tower theories and more about actually applying that knowledge to the real world.
Right.
Where things were changing so fast.
Absolutely. And speaking of the dot-com world, that takes us to PayPal, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's easy to forget now, but back then, online payments,
Oh, totally.
the Wild West.
It was, I mean, the internet was so young, and the idea of sending money online, it was pretty unproven.
Right.
Musk, along with some others, founded X.com to tackle this problem.
Okay.
It eventually, became PayPal as we know it, faced all sorts of internal battles and challenges along the way. But the big moment was really when eBay bought them out back in 2002
Wow.
for a cool $1.5 billion.
That's a lot of money.
It is. And, Musk at 31 becomes a multimillionaire. And this wasn't just a success. It was the launch pad for everything that he would do next.
Yeah, so from online payments to outer space.
Right.
I mean, SpaceX is really where things get really ambitious to me. Musk sets out
Yeah.
with this goal of making humanity a multiplanetary species.
Right.
Starting with colonizing Mars. I mean, was this just a tech billionaire's fantasy, or did he actually have a real plan?
Well, that's what's so fascinating is that he kind of had the strategy from the start. SpaceX wasn't about just getting to space. It was about driving down the cost to do so.
Yeah.
And that was the key to making his vision of reaching Mars even possible. But of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
Right. No, the source material goes into all the early rocket failures,
Oh,
the
yeah.
struggle to secure funding.
Of course.
Even giant aerospace companies doubted him.
They did. And this is where Musk's persistence really kind of shines, They had a major turning point in 2008 when Falcon 1 became the first privately funded liquid-fueled rocket to reach orbit.
Wow.
And to understand why this is huge, you have to know that liquid-fueled rockets, they use these liquid propellants which allow for way more controlled and efficient burns
Okay.
compared to solid fuels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was a massive engineering feat, and it really proved that SpaceX could pull off what many thought was impossible.
And they didn't stop there. They developed the Falcon 9
Yeah.
Dragon spacecraft, and they've become, really a major player in the entire space industry.
Yeah, coolly.
They're not just putting satellites up there. They're sending astronauts
Right.
to the International Space Station, the first private company
It's
to do so. And they're using reusable rockets, which just completely changes the game
Oh, absolutely.
in terms of like cost and efficiency.
Yeah.
Landing a rocket vertically after launching it. I mean, that's just like sci-fi stuff made real.
Yeah, and it's all driven by that ultimate goal,
Yeah.
making life on Mars a reality. And this is what's, I think, really crucial to understanding Musk. It's not about the cool tech just for its own sake.
Right.
It's about these massive long-term goals.
Yeah.
He's playing the long game in a way that I think very few others are.
But colonizing Mars means we need to like solve problems here on Earth first, right?
That's it.
I mean, that's where Tesla comes in.
Right, yeah.
And just like with SpaceX, the early days of Tesla, they were anything but easy.
Oh, yeah.
Our source material, it talks about the financial struggles, production delays.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, most people weren't even sure if electric cars could really compete with gas guzzlers.
Yeah, it's true. There was a lot of skepticism, but Musk, he had this unwavering belief in the potential of EVs.
Yeah.
He saw them as like the future of transportation, not just some niche alternative.
I can just imagine pitching electric cars back then. People probably thought he was crazy.
Yeah, probably.
But that conviction, it led to, some truly groundbreaking vehicles.
Yeah.
The Roadster, the Model S,
The Model 3.
the Model 3, which really made EVs
Yeah, more affordable.
more affordable.
Right.
Model X, the Model Y, each one kind of pushing the limits of what an electric car could be.
And what's really impressive is how Tesla's success, it really forced the entire auto industry to take electric vehicles seriously.
Right.
I mean, companies that had been making gas-powered cars for a century, suddenly they had to scramble to catch up.
Wow.
It's a classic example of, disruption in action.
So we've got SpaceX aiming for Mars, Tesla changing how we drive.
Yeah.
But then there's the boring company in Neuralink.
Right.
Musk just looks at a problem and says, challenge accepted.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how those two ventures, on the surface, they seem so unrelated.
Right.
But I think they both stem from this, deep desire that Musk has to solve what he sees as these, existential problems.
Okay.
The Boring Company tackles urban traffic congestion, right?
Yeah.
Something that just plagues cities around the world.
Oh, yeah.
His vision is this network of underground tunnels
Okay.
where these autonomous electric vehicles
Whoa.
can travel at super high speeds, just, bypassing all that surface gridlock.
It sounds like a sci-fi solution.
Yeah.
A very real problem.
It is.
And then you've got Neuralink, which is on a whole other level of ambitious
Oh, yeah.
brain-machine interfaces, merging human and artificial intelligence.
I know, right?
I mean, that's some serious Black Mirror territory.
It is definitely pushing the boundaries of what we even thought was possible. I mean, the goal of Neuralink is to create this direct link between the human brain and computers.
Okay.
And initially, they're focusing on, medical applications, things like treating neurological disorders. They've already had success.
Wow.
Implanting devices in animals.
The potential benefits for people with, conditions like paralysis or Alzheimer's, I mean, that's huge.
It's huge, but you're right. I mean, it does raise
Yeah.
some pretty big questions about where this technology could lead.
Exactly. The ethical implications, I mean, that's something we need to consider very carefully.
Sure.
What happens when the lines between human and machine become blurred?
Yeah.
What safeguards do we need to put in place? These are conversations we need to be having now before this technology becomes widespread.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've talked about his companies, his drive, but what about Musk?
Yeah.
The person.
Yeah.
Our source material hints at, his motivations.
Yeah.
Like, what makes him tick?
Well, I think it's clear he's not just driven by, profit or fame.
Right.
There's this, deep-seated desire to really tackle massive challenges and just leave a lasting impact on the world.
Yeah.
He's someone who sets these, audacious goals and then just pursues them relentlessly.
Yeah, he does.
He also seems to have, a genuine fascination with technology and its potential to, transform human life.
He's also been known to, ruffle some feathers along the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, his leadership style can be, unconventional.
Unconventional, yeah.
And his social media presence is, let's just say it's unique.
It's definitely something.
He's not afraid to, speak his mind, even if it sparks controversy.
Yeah, that's true. He often challenges, the status quo.
Right.
And he doesn't shy away from, confrontation. Some see it as, arrogance. Others see it as, this refreshing willingness to disrupt establish norms.
Yeah.
It's that combination of like brilliance and boldness
Yeah.
that really makes him such a polarizing figure.
On one hand, you've got these incredible achievements, these groundbreaking companies pushing the limits of like what's possible.
Yeah.
On the other, there are concerns about his methods, his sometimes erratic behavior, his outsized influence.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot. It really is. And it's important to, acknowledge both sides
Oh, for sure.
of the coin.
Yeah.
To celebrate like his accomplishments while also having like these open and honest discussions
Yeah.
about the potential downsides of his approach.
Exactly.
It's almost like we're looking at two different Elon Musks.
Yeah.
The visionary entrepreneur striving to, build a better future.
Right.
And then the sometimes reckless provocateur pushing boundaries and courting controversy.
It's a fascinating duality, and I think it raises an important question.
Okay.
Can you separate the person from their work? Can you admire, the innovations while also criticizing the individual behind them?
I think that's something each of us kind of has to wrestle with.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because ultimately, Elon Musk's impact on the world it's undeniable.
It is, absolutely. He's not just building companies. He's shaping the future in ways.
Yeah.
We're only just beginning to understand, and that makes him one of the most influential and just, like, intriguing figures of our time.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about how much he's already accomplished and he's not even done yet.
I know. That's what I think is so captivating about Musk. It's like he's operating on a completely different time scale than most people. He's thinking decades, even centuries ahead.
He's not just trying to fix the problems we have today. He's trying to like lay the groundwork for a future where humanity is a multiplanetary species, where we've merged with AI, where we've like transcended our biological limitations. It's mind-boggling.
It really is. It raises some really interesting questions, though, right? Like, are these the right problems to be focusing on? What about the, the potential downsides, the unintended consequences of these technologies?
There's that debate, right? Is Musk a genius, like leading us to a utopia? Or is he a reckless disruptor who might unleash forces he can't control?
I know.
It's a question we all have to grapple with. I think it's important to have those conversations.
Absolutely.
We need to think critically about the technologies that are being developed and their potential impact, both good and bad.
For sure. We can't just, blindly follow the lead of tech billionaires, even brilliant ones, right?
Right.
We need to be informed. We need to be engaged.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we are shaping the future that we actually want to live in.
That's a key point. A lot of folks, they're quick to label Musk as either a hero or a villain.
Yeah.
But it's more nuanced.
It's way more nuanced.
His story, it prompts us to think about what innovation really means. And what responsibility comes with it.
Definitely.
Our source material also touches on his philanthropic efforts. So he clearly wants to make a positive impact that goes beyond just his companies.
For sure. He's a big believer in, renewable energy, sustainability. Yeah. That's evident with his investments in solar power and electric vehicles.
Yeah.
He's been very vocal about the need to tackle climate change head on.
And he's also a really strong advocate for STEM education.
Yeah.
He sees science and technology as essential tools for, solving humanity's biggest challenges.
Right.
He's poured millions into supporting educational initiatives and research projects, all aimed at, advancing our understanding of the universe and developing technologies that, benefit everyone.
It's almost like he's working on these two levels, building companies that push technological boundaries and then supporting these initiatives to help humanity as a whole.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype and controversy around him.
Right.
But we have to take a step back and appreciate the scope of his ambition and the impact that he's having.
For sure. I agree. Elon Musk is a complex figure. I mean, he's a brilliant inventor. He's a shrewd businessman, a controversial public figure. And a philanthropist trying to make a difference. You can admire his drive and his accomplishments, but you can also question some of his choices.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Elon Musk, I want to leave you with this thought. What kind of legacy will he leave behind? Will he be remembered as, a hero who helped steer humanity towards a better future?
Right.
Or as a reckless figure who unleashed forces beyond his control?
Ooh, only time will tell.
I know.
Right. But one thing is for certain, Elon Musk's story is far from over.
Yeah.
And the choices that he makes are gonna continue to shape the world for years to come.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those tough questions.